Hello and welcome back to Nasty Metal, a production channel here at YouTube, and welcome to, of course, the Wednesday review. Now, of course, today I'm reviewing, of course, a Doomsday's Today Records release, and of course, it's, well, Dolores, which is with, well, I don't know if I can call this a EP, but it's definitely a comp, and of course, it's basically, well, there are only two releases on one cassette, which of course is Heartless and Poison Apple. Now, Poison Apple actually came out in 1999, whereas Heartless came out in 2000, and that pretty much ended up being the only, that would be, not saying the only thing, but the last thing they released. So, pretty much all of these on one cassette, and apparently this was also at one point, I think maybe these were released through, of course, Paul's original label, Stockpicker Records, but this, of course, was again re-released to, of course, Doomsday's Today Records on, of course, on February 27th of 2018. So, as far when it comes to at least the band Dolores, I've tried my best to look up every bit of information on this band, but it seemed they might as well be considered a ghost band because there's just no information on these guys at all. The only thing else is at least on band members, and there's only consists of 3 guys here, which again, the names are Neil Barrett, which is guitars, vocals, Mark Key, bass, vocals, and of course Stefan Kadra on drums. So it's a 3-piece. And as far as the musical style that they play, it's somewhere between like very almost gothic, sludgy, sludgy metal with metalcore and industrial elements in their music, but it definitely has more of a sludge metal feel to it, and very slow, very much almost it takes some even some influences from doom metal. But it definitely just has that kind of sludgy, and it's very gothic at times as well. But again, you definitely also get quite a bit of that metalcore and at times as well industrial feel to this. So it definitely has that late 90s kind of feel to the to the songs here. But that's definitely the best way to describe the band, just to give you a good idea, at least of what Dolores are all about. So that's really most of the information I could give you. I can't give you any information on when they were formed. I can't give you information when they split up. It at least had to be any time after the Heartless EP here. So anytime after that, but there's really no specific year date at all, at least when they split up, and there's no specific year date when they formed, and I can't tell you what city they're based, or what town, or what part of the United States they're based out, but they are of course, based out of the United States. So that's the best I can all give you. So with that, I think there's really nothing else left to at least add in there. So without further ado, let's just get into, of course, well, this comp release from, of course, for Dolores. Alright, so this, of course, this comp EP, again, since this combines their 2 only releases on one cassette, and both these 2 releases pretty much just 2 songs each, therefore, with the track list and combine, it all comes out to at least 4 songs, and these 4 songs are, of course, Heartless, Through the Cracks, Poison Apple, and Slide the Knife, actually. But again, there you go. There's your 4 tracks here. As far as which of these 2 tracks were, I think were were exclusive to one of these releases, or at least which part of this this comp is at least Heartless and which part of this comp is Poison Apple. Well, they definitely don't start off with the first thing the band ever released. Instead, they start off with the very last thing that they released, which would be Heartless, which came out in sometime in 2000. I think it was released again also on like 7-inch vinyl. Yeah, these are at least when it comes to at least bands in the late 2000s or at least late 90s, early 2000s, they actually released their stuff on of course on 7-inch, not a CD at all. So that's definitely a little bit of a surprise, especially for a band of this kind of modern caliber. So time to get my thoughts, since of course we're starting off with at least Heartless. I guess you'll be seeing the artwork for, of course, Heartless. So we're going from at least the chronological order of this damn compilation here. So the first track, of course, is Heartless, which starts with the sounds of what I think could be a movie sound clip before going into this 9-inch Nails inspired sludge metal with some metalcore style vocals thrown in there and a little bit of that gothic feel that I definitely kind of somewhat called on, but definitely has that, and it's definitely fine. It's definitely not too bad. I mean, on the second listen, I actually started really kind of somewhat better get into this, because of the first listen, it definitely does. Definitely is something that didn't really hit me at first, because again, this is out of my wheelhouse. I'm not very too into listening a lot of these style of music to begin with, or at least of this genre. But again, on the second listen, it started to really grow on me. So this is definitely not a bad track. Second track, Through the Cracks, which would be the very last track for, of course, Heartless here. It starts slow in a gothic kind of way before turning into another slow, doomy sludge metal track. So that pretty much ends off at least the Heartless portion of this comp. So now to begin the second portion, which would be Poison Apple, which was originally released in 1999. So this would be the very first thing the band ever released. So what kicks off, of course, Poison Apple is, well, the title track, Poison Apple. It continues the same concept of metalcore, Latin sludge metal, but has more of a gothic and at times industrial tone as well to this track. It's definitely interesting, and it definitely isn't too bad, especially since I'm kind of getting used to the sound of what they're at least what they're doing on here. It's definitely kind of interesting, and I don't mind it. The final track here, which of course is Slide the Knife. Actually, I think it is Slide the Knife. No, Slide the Knife. I don't know why it says Slide the Knife. It's weird, but Slide the Knife begins with a slow clip of a old horror film before going into more gothic metalcore inspired sludge metal. It's interesting, and definitely ends off, of course, the EP here, or the comp EP, and so on. So there you go. There is, of course, Dolores. So I'm not going to give a rating on this, but this was definitely fine, and I actually don't mind some of this. Again, for all of those, at least for you, who are at least are curious in this kind of genre, or at least for those who also kind of dig this kind of stuff, I'm going to leave a link to, of course, the Bandcamp page where you can check out the songs here. And if you end up digging it, well, if you want to at least get a hold of this cassette, well, since I'm looking at the Bandcamp page right now, there's about 6 copies remaining on the page. So if you really like what you hear, you better get on at least on grabbing these, because of it, since I don't think these are going to last very long to begin with. So this was definitely some really cool, interesting stuff for sure. So with that, I hope you all enjoyed, and until next time, this is Heavy Thrasher Sam out, and I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.